ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lainey Brooks, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to enjoy the music of the Boynton Beach Gold Coast Band as we present Meet the Band. Please welcome our talented artistic director and conductor, Barbara Rubenstein. Past seasons, we join musical organizations around the world, showing our compassion for the suffering and senseless loss of life in the country of Ukraine, as well as the devastation of the terrorist attacks in Israel, by performing their national anthems from the words of the famous conductor Leonard Bernstein, and I quote, "This will be our reply to violence, to make music more intensely, more beautifully, more devotedly, than ever before. Please rise as we play the national anthems of Ukraine and Israel, and then join us in singing the Star Spangled Banner." section by section. Many of you have heard us before and are probably familiar with most of the instruments that we play. Usually the instruments just get orchestrated together to create beautiful melodies and harmonies, but today's concert you are going to have an opportunity to meet the band and their instruments section by section. Today, individual sections will have an opportunity to shine. And what better way to do this than with William Schumann's The Band Song, written originally as the orchestra song. Schumann adapted it for the instruments in a concert band. You may actually recognize this as a song you sang in elementary school to learn about the instruments. Opening with a clarinet solo by today's concert mistress, Jackie Groveman, each section of the band will get their turn to shine. The Entertainer, that we are playing for you today is adapted for concert band by our very own clarinet section leader, Jim St. Clair, and features the lively, rapid fingerings of our talented clarinet section. And happily for us, since our conductor, Barbara Rubenstein, is also an accomplished clarinetist, as well as our music director, she has made an executive decision to join the section in this piece, which also means that you get to help me welcome one of our wonderful tuba players, David Larrick, to the podium to conduct the Gold Coast Band, playing Scott Joplin's The Entertainer. We are honored to have both the lyricist, Carol Bell, and the composer, Roy Singer, with us this afternoon. Roy, Carol, come on, stand up. And now it is our pleasure to present for you the premiere performance of This Moment of Now as transcribed and arranged for our band by the multi-talented David Larrick, who you just met on the podium for our last piece.
Joy in my heart. salt of the ocean kept it right within. I'm the time that we share, the notes that you hear. I'm the words of the song. I am free of fear. The angels of love lift me to gaze on the beauty within. Now I see through the haze, vast as an ocean, my currents run free. As I reach deep, deep within me, I am all that I am, all that I can be. In each precious moment, I am all of me. My soul reaches forth, I remember my vow as I see who I am in this moment now. As I see who I am in this moment of now.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David, for your and to Donna, and for Carol, and for Roy. Great, but I think we got hers too. Thank you.
Our next song highlights the work of a local Boynton Beach composer, Sandon Shevlin. This is a character piece in 2 movements about Sandon's cats. Buddy, a beautiful cuddly black cat, and his brother Percy, the playful Siamese. The first movement, Buddy in Dreamland, is very lullaby-like, depicting Buddy's cozy nestling in his owner's bed. The second movement is filled with lots of quick-moving passages imitating the crazy movements of Percy playing with his many toys. We are honored to introduce composer Sandon Shevlin. Please stand, he's with us today. As we present the premiere performance of Buddy and Percy at Night. Of the flute family. during which we encourage you to meet the members of our band and ask about their instruments, their training, and learn more about their passion for music, which is what makes them so special. But first, in addition to featuring the various sections of our concert band this afternoon, we are also paying tribute to several members of our band family we have lost during this past year. You can read more about these members in the program, and please visit our memorial display in the lobby. Our next song is a memoriam to Brad Jimenez, who played baritone, saxophone, and bass saxophone in the band for 3 years. Soul Bossa Nova was purchased for the band by Brad and his wife Riley, and features the percussion section, along with the low brass and low woodwinds, who provide the rhythmic and harmonic foundation to the piece. Throughout the song, you will hear a very distinctive percussion instrument called a cuica. That is also a gift to the band from Brad's family, and for which we are very grateful. Is he going to hold it up? Hold it up. Oh, it's a mini drum, or something like that. The cuica will be played today by Roger Spott, our contrabass clarinetist. Did he play? He did play? Okay. Soul Bossa Nova was a favorite of Brad's, especially since it featured the Barry sax that he loved playing. With Brad's memory in our hearts, we present Soul Bossa Nova, celebrating his life and musical contributions. section. Trumpet section. Displaying their dynamic virtuosity as they perform the title theme song from Band of Brothers, the award-winning 2001 TV miniseries created by Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg, documenting the 2nd Battalion's 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment of the 101st Airborne Division, known as Easy Company. From their jump training in Georgia through their involvement in major conflicts, such as the Normandy invasion, the Battle of the Bulge, Hitler's retreat, and Japan's surrender. Under the direction of trumpet section leader Jim Sheldrake, here is Band of Brothers.
Good afternoon. You have met soloists, composers, arrangers, and many sections of the band. I am the musical director and the conductor. And it is my job to pick the music, plan the programs, and help all the musicians become familiar with their parts in order for us to present our music to you, the most important part of our band for concerts. Just playing our music is fun, but it's not the same as having you be a part of us. We are so appreciative of your support and attendance. Thank you for sharing this afternoon with us. We also could not do these concerts without the support and assistance of everyone here in the Boynton Beach Community High School, particularly band director Elena Scroggins and our tech assistant, Mr. Johnny DeMornay. We also want to thank all the folks at the First Presbyterian Church of Boynton Beach, where we rehearse every week. We are partially supported by the Recreation and Parks Department, and we thank them and the city for their continued support of the arts in Boynton Beach. Meeting the band also involves a lot of other people behind the scenes, including, and please hold your applause as I go through this whole list here, includes our board members who are identified in the program, Kat Valentine, who runs the front of the house for our concerts, Michelle Spott, who handles tickets, our personnel manager and board member, Mary Wilkie, who does everything, and most importantly, our band families who help to move equipment, run errands, and most of all, support each and every one of these musicians and their desire to get together each week to make great music. Thank you to our band families. And special thanks to a few of our band family members, Bill Taylor, who records our concerts, Barry Simon, who created the visuals and slideshow for this afternoon, and a big thank you to my husband Todd, who does all the things, especially today. Thank you. We have a special shout out from one of our band members, Linda Bacchus, to her husband, Chris. They are celebrating their 34th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary, Linda and Chris. Are there any other special celebrations today? Well, happy everything, and thank you, band families. This is our last concert of the 2024-25 season. We do not have our dates chosen yet for next season, but follow us on Facebook or on our website where information will be shared. And now let's continue to meet the band, and let's have another round of applause for our section leader, Jim Sheldrake, and our magnificent trumpet section. And who is the hostess with the mostest? Standing over here with flowers in her hand. Our mistress of ceremonies, Lady Rubenstein.
Present flowers to the best artistic director and conductor and musician, and we value you many more times than this. Thank you. The lyrics of Danny Boy were written in 1910 by an English lawyer and set to the Irish folk tune Londonderry Air. A timeless and emotional song that has been cherished for generations, it is often associated with moments of reflection and remembrance, which is why we have chosen to perform it this afternoon in memory of Dennis Zellner, who was a trumpet player with the Gold Coast Band for over 15 years. The melody is both mournful and uplifting, offering solace while honoring the memory of this talented musician, better known to us as Dan or Danny Zale. Here is Danny Boy, featuring tenor sax player Bob Wilkie on harmonica. royalty of harmonica. Beautiful. And now the saxophones. Yakety Sax is a familiar tune written in 1963 by James Rich and the extremely talented Nashville saxophonist Boot Randolph. As a child, Randolph played in his family's band that would enter talent shows so that they could win food during the Depression. He started out playing the ukulele and trombone, but switched to tenor sax when his father unexpectedly brought one home in 1957. And he became a session musician and played in Brenda Lee's Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, Roy Orbison's Oh Pretty Woman, and on Elvis's Return to Sender, and countless other stars. It wasn't until 1963 that he finally had his own hit, Yakety Sax. Often used in television and film as the soundtrack to outlandishly humorous situations, it was used as the background music for the crazy silent chase scenes at the end of the Benny Hill shows. The fast-paced nature of the piece with its crisp short notes and very fast finger work makes it extremely difficult to play and demands skillful execution, but nothing our band's saxophones cannot handle, as the rapid run, sharp accents, and playful energy are captured by our entire saxophone family. The soprano sax, the most common alto and tenor saxes, and finally the baritone sax. Here is the exciting and energetic Yakety Sax. Playing Time to Say Goodbye. Okay. This Italian song by Francesco Sartori was first performed by Andrea Bocelli and has become his signature song. However, despite its global popularity, since he first sang it with Sarah Brightman in 1995, it only reached number 4 and initially had poor sales, but not to worry, the song is still popular today as Bocelli re-recorded it with his son Matteo for the 2024 Oscars. Our French roots section is featured through their expressive lyrical passages that convey the emotional message of the piece, a heartfelt tribute to the 3 band members and other members of our band's families who have lost throughout the year. Here is time to say goodbye. Our next piece, 76 Trombones, provides the perfect tribute for the very witty Andrew Jennings Dickerson. who was a lifelong lover and performer of music and who played trombone in the band until the age of 91. This should be fun as we hear 76 trombones from Meredith Wilson's Music Man with an arrangement by Leroy Anderson that combines it with segments of famous Sousa marches. We may not have 76 trombones, but we do have a trombone section that we are going to feature along with our euphoniums in this exciting, fast-paced arrangement. So let's get in step with 76 trombones. gentlemen, one final note. We are under contract to be out of here, in about 5 minutes. So we need you to please postpone your socializing until you are outside. And And to help you make that happen, please enjoy our very favorite exit music, Stars and Stripes Forever, featuring Jennifer Mina on both euphonium and piccolo solo. Oh my God. Thank you for being an excellent audience. We look forward to seeing you again in the fall. Thank you, and drive safe. And get up and leave.